We have some huge news coming out of the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid is now out indefinitely with an orbital fracture and a mild concussion. This is a huge loss for the Philadelphia 76ers as they're without their franchise big for the possible foreseeable future, and they might be without him for the whole playoffs because his return is undetermined now, and this is on top of Joel Embiid's torn right ligament in his thumb. And as I mentioned, huge blow. Joel Embiid, who was in MVP conversations this year, had a huge monster season, won the scoring title, averaged about 30 points per game. This first time since Shaquille O'Neal did that. So he is in rare company in terms of being one of the most talented offensive bigs this league has ever seen. And he's giving you about 26 and 11 in the postseason. But damn, I mean, it just comes at the worst time. Philly has the worst luck. Embiid doing his thing, going off, and just like that, he's out. And he was gutting it through, as I mentioned, with the torn right ligament in his thumb. He decided to play through the pain. He was going to push off surgery until after the Sixers postseason, But now he's just like, what are you going to do now? And if you look at Philadelphia, I mean, they're going to the next season against a gauntlet facing the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat. And you got to ask yourself, it's like, well, damn, no Joel Embiid. That's it. Miami's got this series wrapped up. I don't want to say Miami, this is an easy win for Miami because I still feel like this Philadelphia 76ers have a puncher's chance to win this series. Now you look at Tyrese Maxey, the point guard. First two games of the season, they're going to need what he did the first two games. He got you 38 and 23 in game one and game two versus the Toronto Raptors, and he got you 25 points in the closeout game. So he's capable of being a 20-point scorer a night. So he could get you 20 points and fill that offense while Embiid is out. Tobias Harris, a lot of people in the media have been talking about, does he need to be traded because of his contract? He's also capable of being a 20-point scorer. So the media really don't know what they're talking about, okay? He's been productive so far. If you looked at the numbers, Tobias Harris has been really productive in the playoffs. He's averaging 22 points in the first round against Toronto. And that goes to show you he's also capable of being a 20-point-a-night scorer. So there's about 40 points of offense right there without Embiid. The real person who needs to step up in Joel Embiid's absence is the person they traded for at the trade deadline, and that is James Harden, okay? James Harden needs to step up. We need to see that James Harden of Houston old days, where he was averaging 32, 35 points a night, capable of giving a 50, 60-point explosion. This James Harden that we have seen his last couple of weeks in Brooklyn, this year so far with the Philadelphia 76ers, is not the James Harden that's going to lead this team to a championship. And another thing is, can you even trust James Harden? Because you look at his numbers when he was in Houston, averaged 28.5 points per game, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, and 85 playoff career games for the Rockets. That's superstar numbers right there. James Harden in Philly, his first round against the Raptors, 19 points while playing the second most highest minutes in his career at 40. That is not going to get it done. That is not going to help the Philadelphia 76ers achieve their goal and help win a championship, okay? They got James Harden to be the number 2 punch to Joel Embiid, to be Joel Embiid's sidekick. When Embiid's not having a good game or when he's out in times like this, Harden could pick up the slack. But here comes the question. Is James Harden even capable of picking up the slack? There was a reason. This is exactly the reason why he left Houston. He didn't want to continue to carry the load. He was tired of having to score 40, 50, 60 points a night just for the team to be competitive. There's a reason why he also quit on Brooklyn, because Kyrie Irving was in and out of the lineup because of the mandate. Kevin Durant got hurt, and they was slipping and falling fast, and they said, hey, James, we need you to carry the load. He's like, nah, I don't want to do this. I came to Brooklyn to get an easy ring. Get me out of here. So now he's with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is unfortunately out. Hey, James Harden, we gonna need you to carry the load. Is he capable of doing that? I don't know. If you look at the track record, James Harden has had a horrible track record of carrying the load and being clutch in situations when he's needed the most. You see in the playoffs, anybody who watches sports, The superstar's job is to show up. That's how you turn your name from superstar into legend. And James Harden has not come up in the clutch. And I'm talking about Miami too. They're facing the number one team in the Eastern Conference. Miami is a top 5 defensive team in the playoffs so far, and they are second in points allowed. Now, they was going to go into the series where Miami had bodies to throw at Embiid. They had Adebayo. They had Tucker, Dwayne Dedmon. Now, with no Embiid there, Miami could play big, and Bam could easily dominate down low. Or, hell, he can even stretch out to the jump shot around the 15-foot around the rim and knock down those elbow jump shots. So this is a series where Bam could get you at least 25 points, average about 13, 14 assists easily, because there's no big body down there that's going to be able to outmuscle him. Now, maybe you could possibly put Tobias Harris, who's 6'7", 6'8", but that's not really going to do much. Maybe Matisse Thybulle, who's also another wing who's good at defending. And another thing, Thybulle was able to play the whole games this series because he wasn't able to play in Canada last series. But you talk about this, man. This is, again, huge loss for the Sixers. And also, I forgot to mention, too, Oladipo came back, and he had 26 and 5 versus the closeout game in Atlanta. So Miami has another scorer. They have bodies that they could throw at the Sixers. And Miami's a really good home team. 29-12 home this year. That's not including the playoffs. So if you're looking at this, man, the Sixers are in huge trouble. And it just seems, it's so sad because we always talked about, in the back then before, we always made fun of Joel Embiid's injury history and that he's so injury prone. But obviously, injuries are part of the game, and he's been called unreliable and street clothes, whatever. But this injury wasn't his fault. I mean, he got smacked into the face by Pascal Siakam, I think, when he was driving, and Pascal elbowed him in the face, and that was the cause of the injury. So that's not Embiid's fault. I mean, somebody smacks you in the face or hits you in the face with an elbow, you can't really do much about that. But it's just a tough blow for Philly. Hopefully, Embiid is able to gut it out in some time and hopefully come back at some point in the series. But if not, man, I don't know if he's going to be able to wear a mask to kind of protect his face. But if not, I already said that I believe Philly's ceiling was a second round and exit. But they might get swept if Harden does not step up. They've been able to have help so far with Maxey, Tobias Harris. Thybulle could give you something on the defensive end, and maybe you could get him 10. He could give you 10 points a night here and there. And Danny Green's also got to step up, knock down some shots. But if James Harden, who was the X factor, does not show up and carry the load offensively while Embiid is out, the Sixers might get swept. Now, again, they have a puncher's chance. That's only if Harden steps up. But looking at James Harden's track record in his history, he has not showed up in big games. And it's like, damn, you asked for this trade to Philly, and now you may be the cause of Philly not advancing because they're going to have to rely on you to carry the load because the big man and Embiid is out. But let me know what you guys think about this injury. Does this hurt Philly's chances of moving on and beating the Miami Heat and eventually getting to an NBA Finals? I think it does. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to World TV. See you guys next time.